So, hi everyone, welcome back to the course Essentials of Object Oriented Design and Programming. So, we are in the module 3. So, in this module, we will be discussing inheritance, types of inheritance, and special functions like friend function, virtual functions, etc. in C++. So, let us start inheritance. In this session, we'll be discussing inheritance and the types of inheritance. That is what we are going to see in this session. So coming to inheritance, it is very simple. Acquiring the properties from one class to other class, or getting the properties, variables and methods, or member data and member function from one class to other class. So the class which is offering is called a superclass. The class which is receiving is called a subclass, technically. So the class whose features are inherited is known as superclass or base class. The class which is getting or inherits or acquire from the other class is known as subclass or derived class. In a local word, the superclass can be called as parent class. The subclass can be called as child class. Okay. And in a real world example, the son is getting the properties of dad from dad. He is called a base class or superclass. The son is called as child class, subclass or derived class. Okay. So the capability of the class to derive the properties and characteristics from one class to other class is called inheritance. Okay. So the advantages are code reusability. Because the functions defined in base class can be reused without rewriting the code in the subclass. That is what code reusability. And it also saves the time and effort, because the code is already written in the base class or superclass. We simply inherit and we can use the same function in the subclass. So it supports reusability, and saves the times and effort are the advantages. Moving on to the modes of inheritance, or visibility mode of inheritance. We are having three types: public, private, and protected. So these are the three modes of inheritance. Whether the features of the base class are privately, publicly derived, or protectedly are derived to the subclass. The three visibility mode: public, private, protected, are the three visibility. In which mode you are inheriting the base class to subclass. That is what the visibility mode or modes of inheritance. So the public mode means, if you are inheriting in the public mode, means all the members of the base class are public in the derived class. Okay. While inheriting, if you are inherit in a public mode of inheritance, all the base class members become public in the derived class, or it is just as they are in the base class. That is what the public. Coming to private, if you inherit the members in a private mode, all the members of the base class become private in the subclass. Okay. So if you inherit in a private mode, all the members are inherited to the becomes private in the derived class. And third one is protected. All the public members become protected members in the derived class. So I'll show in the table, you'll understand easily. So assume that these are all the base class members: base class public, base class protected, base class private. Okay. So these are all the, in which mode I am going to inherit: public mode, private, or protected. So let us see the public. If you inherit the public mode, all the public members will be public in the derived class. All the protected will be protected, and private never inherited. Okay. So it is same as the base class. Public become public, protected become protected, and private never inherited. Okay. This is the public mode of inheritance. So next one is private. We'll see private mode of inheritance. So public base class become private in derived class. Public protected in base class become private in derived class, and private never inherited. In all the modes, private member never inherited. Okay. And coming to the third one, protected, public become protected, protected become protected, and private never inherited. Okay. So these are all the base class access mode. if you're inheriting in a public mode, this will be the resulting access mode in a inheritance. Okay. So in detail, it is given here. If you want, you can refer the PPT. Public mode in a base class to derived class. So private member never inherited. Public become public, protected become protected. So this is the public mode of inheritance. So check out the base class to private mode of inheritance. So private become private, protected become private, public become private. Okay. So check out the third one, protected. So base class private become private, protected become protected, and private is never inherited actually. Public inherited as a protected. Okay. So that is what the modes of inheritance. So private never inherited to the any of the subclass or child class or derived class. Only public and protected can be inherited in the three modes. Okay. So let us discuss the types of inheritance. So there are five major types of inheritance. The first one is single or simple inheritance, multiple inheritance, multi-level inheritance, hierarchical inheritance, and the hybrid inheritance. Let us see one by one what is what. Single inheritance or simple inheritance, we are having only one base class and only one derived class, right? So base class, this is the base class, and derived class is this one. So this is the access specifier, mode of inheritance, whether you are inheriting in a public, private, or protected. So anyone should come over here, and the base class name. Okay, this is what the single or simple inheritance. So the good example is bank account is the base class, and savings is the derived class. So savings account inherited from the bank account. The customer name, balance, account number can be used in the derived class. Single inheritance, you have to inherit in the public. This is actually class diagram, class UML diagram. So plus is public actually, plus is public. Okay. And next type is multiple inheritance. By the name itself, multiple base classes. Remember that. Multiple inheritance means multiple base classes. So A and B are the two base classes inherited to the third class C. So base class 1 defined, base class 2 is defined, and in derived class, so in a comma separated, two classes are inherited. So access in which mode is inheriting the base class, comma, mode of inheritance of the base class. For example, for this example, class C would be colon public, assuming that you are inheriting the public mode. So public A, comma, public B. So both the classes are inherited to the class C. So that is what multiple inheritance, multiple base class or multiple parent class. Okay. And next, yeah, this is the another example. From savings account and loan account, premium account is actually derived. Okay. So another real world example from the banking sector actually. Okay, so third type of inheritance is multi-level. So level, think about level, staircase, steps, multi-story building. So multi-level means level by level, like a ladder. So we are having one after another in a one by one. Okay, that is what multi-level inheritance. So class B is derived from class A, class C is derived from class B, hence from class A to B, B to C. So coming to C, through B, A also inherited to the class C. Okay. So A is a base class, B is also base class for C, derived class for A, and C is the derived class for P. Okay. And next, yeah, the syntax is given. So base class 1 is class A, base class 2 is getting from base class 1, and derived class is getting from base class 2. So you take this base class B as a base class 2. So class B, public A, class C, colon, public public B. While inheriting, no need to include the class keyword. Only class definition needs the class keyword. Okay. So next, yeah, this is the real world example of multi-level. So bank account to the loan account to the car loan account. So another simple banking example. Next inheritance is hierarchical inheritance. So hierarchy. So top will be there. from a top, the all the subclasses are getting the same. So only one top class is acting as a base class for several more than one subclass. So for B, C, D classes, only one base class. Okay, one class is inherited by the many subclasses. So syntax would be class A is inherited to class B, class C, class D. So class B public A, class C public A. So class A is inherited to the all the subclasses. Okay. And the next type is, or last type is hybrid, the combination of any above said four inheritances, single or multiple, multi-level, two or more combinations of above said from the above said inheritance can form a hybrid inheritance. So check out this. So class A is inherited to B and C. So if you remove class D, so it will be hierarchical inheritance. If you cut the class A, so from class D is getting from B and C, multiple. So here hierarchy multiple. If you cut the class C, so A, B, D, it's a multi-level. So you can have a multiple multi-level hierarchy inheritance altogether in a hybrid inheritance. Okay. So assuming the same example, class A is defined, class B is B and C is getting from class A. So class B is getting from A, class C is getting from A, and the class D is getting from B and C. Class D is getting from B and comma C, multiple inheritance. Okay. So that's all the types of inheritance. We discussed what the type of inheritance in this session. We'll see in detail in coming sessions. Thank you all.